Hari Om.
Hari Om.
One friend raised some points during our lunchtime about the reincarnation theory. We thought we would share some thoughts of two saints in India. The question turns to the cause of a variety and multiplicity in his creation. Take, for instance, a human being. The children of the same parents develop different characteristics in spite of the same upbringing, ambience, nurturing. This makes us wonder. Therefore, we turn to our scriptures for answers, where it is explained that the cause for the multifarious expressions in creation is due to the karmic baggage. This indicates that our sense of individuality, consisting of the body, mind, intellect, has been shaped according to our previous karmas, which include gunas born out of vasanas, unfulfilled desires, cravings and infatuations, our rights and wrongs, our likes and dislikes, our preferences and priorities, our preconceived notions and the like. This is the baggage. Swami Chinmayanandaji's following words in Atma Bodh. Atma Bodh is a work by Adi Shankara, Shankaracharya. It's a wonderful book where he has explained about the three bodies we all have: gross body, subtle body, causal body. So here he says, the enjoyment of pleasure and pain in this physical body is determined by our past karmas. Thought by thought, action by action, we have demanded the present body and mental equipment. In fact, even when we are alive and acting here now, we order the shape of future life to be. With our own actions, we give a blueprint to God, ordering the exact shape of our destiny, and according to the specification given, the body, the tent of experience, is built and handed over to each one of us by the all-merciful, omnipotent, divine Creator. That is why we have been asked to lead a righteous life. We have been asked to go to the source of all our sources. We have been asked to widen our circle of love. And ultimately to surrender, where we become only an instrument of Him. Instead of a doer or an actor or an enjoyer or a sufferer or an owner, we become only an instrument, in which case there is no baggage. Even twins, the fertilization has taken place at the same moment. When they come out, they are different. So that is how we trace back. Why should there be difference? Acharya Vinoba Bhave says, an artist paints a variety of pictures on the same type of paper with the same brush. A sitarist creates different ragas out of the same 7 notes. In literature, a variety of thoughts, ideas, and feelings are expressed through a few letters of the alphabet. different pictures drawn by the same artist with the same brush on the same paper evoke different feelings. Therein lies the skill of the artist. The artist and the sitarist have such a skill in their fingers that they make you laugh or cry. In their fingers lies the magical power. The anger of the angry man, the love of the lover, the agony of the sufferer, the happiness of the happy one, the drowsiness of the idler, the activity of the industrious man, all these are manifestations of one and the same energy, cosmic energy. These different emotions and urges, although they are often contrary to each other, spring from the same source. As the cosmic energy within is one and the same in all, the outer bodily cover of all is also the same in nature. So this is how we try to find an answer through the Shastras. And there are very few incidents where people remember their old birth. When somebody asks, why are we not remembering our previous birth? Immediately what comes to our mind, is it not a blessing? We are finding it difficult to keep up the relationship in this birth. Is it not? Suppose we remember our past relations and the past relations. Our father, mother, wife, children, our debtor, creditor, people with whom we disagreed, people with whom we agreed, the likes and dislikes. What a chaos it will be, So that is why he has given us this forgetfulness. In Srimad Bhagavad Gita, he specifically says this. Matta smriti jnanam apohanam cha. Smriti jnanam apohanam. Smriti means memory. Jnanam means the knowledge that we acquired. Apohanam means the forgetfulness. I am giving you these three. It has come from me. First, when we read, we fail to understand. Forgetfulness also he has given. Yes. It's a great blessing. When some shocking experience we have to pass through in our life, you find as days go by, it gets diluted, is it not? A day comes when you reconcile with it. If we continue to remember the same throughout, what would have been our plight? So it is good that we don't remember our previous birth. But there are very rare, certain children, they develop taste for music, taste for something right from our childhood. They have not had any schooling. So, and that is why we rely on the statement of the seers. In all our scriptures, this has been emphasized. Vyandharashuji vachikam papam karmana samuparjitam. In all our mantras also it comes. And especially during, difficult for me to translate that into English. But there it is when we say Sankalpa, what is the, when we take to a particular type of worship, we make a resolve. And in that resolve, it comes out in the form of a mantra. Sudinam tadeva, tarabalam, chandrabalam tadeva, vidyabalam, devabalam tadeva, agrigam Swami, apavitraha, pavitrova, sarvavastani, yasmarir pundarigaksham, yasabahya, abhyantara shujihi, manasam, vachikam, papam, karmana, samuparjitam. Whatever I have inherited through my thoughts, words and deeds, please relieve me from that. I have earned it, that's why you have given me. Let me not carry over again. You will all remember, in good old days, probably the older generation, I don't know about in United States, in India, when we were having these accounts, manually operated, not with tally today. So there, the everyday cash balance will be carried over. There we say BF, brought forward. So whatever unfulfilled desires, cravings, whatever we have, it will be carried over to the next birth. That is the capital with which we start our life. So God gives us a long rope, and He facilitates something by which we are reminded of Him. And the moment we become aware of His presence, and when we try to become subservient to that power and slowly dedicate everything to Him, there won't be anything left as my desire, my ambition, my cravings, and then the balance becomes nil. And when that is over, I become one with Him. So I continue to remain as an individual, but not having the sense of doership or sense of enjoyership. And at that time, the individual becomes one with the universal. This has been corroborated by many saints and sages. So that is why we have been asked to follow this righteous life, value-based life. Otherwise, nobody will suffer. We ourselves will have to suffer. Now we go back to our 12th chapter. So this 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita gives us so many values. There are more than 30 values there, which if we try to hold on to it, we become the dearest devotee of the Lord who is inside. That means I become eligible to go to my, in Puja Swamiji's words, real home. Spiritual journey is nothing but going back to our real home. This is only a temporary home. So our real home, if we have to go, there is a beautiful quotation of Papa. The summit, spiritual summit, Papa brings it out bluntly. When the false conventions and ostentatious observances are broken through, the soul is liberated. For realizing the truth, T capital, no external paraphernalia is necessary. No garb, no sign, no creed, no cult can help you. The day will come when you have to leave all these behind and go to meet the eternal E capital, in the perfect nakedness of your spirit, shedding all make-believe forms, customs and traditions. Simplicity, spontaneity and humility, they become the guiding principles of your life. You move freely with all, you love all alike, you break all boundaries set by the calculating and selfish human mind. You soar like a free bird in the infinite expanse of the spiritual firmament. You look upon all beings and creatures as the embodiment of the one divine, all-pervading spirit. Temples, ashrams, mosques, churches, synagogues, viharas cannot imprison your soul. You find your soul's delight and joy at all places, in the best as well as the worst. So that means, the rebirth will, the cycle of birth and rebirth, that one will be able to get liberated when we reach this stage. The day will come when you have to leave all these behind and go to meet the eternal in the perfect nakedness of your spirit, shedding all make-believe forms, customs, traditions. Simplicity, spontaneity and humility become the guiding principles of your life. So when we are freed from all these down-pulling forces, every act becomes spontaneous. It is not out of... Spontaneous means, directly God is making us to do. It is not out of a thought process. When the thought process starts, the me and mine is there. They will be leading an ordinary life, but they only know who prompts, how the prompting comes. Absolutely, we will not be having any idea, but things will be going on beautifully. Papa made us to think about the running of Ananda Ashram. He used to say, God arranges all things in His own way at the time He appoints. God arranges all things in His own way at the time He appoints. So that is why nothing is mobilized, nothing is planned, nothing is chartered, nothing is initiated from ashram. But everything goes on beautifully as if there is a planning, there is a clear-cut, defined method. No, absolutely zero. But going on beautifully for the past 91 years. So by that, Papa is telling us, if the surrender is complete and if you feel he is running it, then there is no problem. If you feel you are running it, finished. So spiritual journey should enable us to graduate to this stage, handing over our ownership to Him. We may be possessing, but the possessiveness will not be there. As long as it has to remain with me, I will possess, that's all. The moment someone comes and asks, or it will be more useful to him, immediately pass it on. That is why it's called trustees, not owner, proprietor. For the time being, we are the custodians. That is the idea. So this will enable us to free ourselves gradually from the clutches of birth and death. Somewhat clear? Na? Somewhat clear?
Yes.
So we go back to the morning session where we are talking about who is my dearest devotee. Then compassion. In the first sloka, Adveshta sarvabhutanam maitra karuna evaja. Those who are compassionate. We were a witness to this incident. Compassion, all of us have some idea. The same Jain, we were driving. Somebody informed us that in a place called Calcutta, loaded lorry, when the boy was crossing the road, somehow the foot of the boy got stuck in the wheel and he has been taken to the hospital. As soon as he heard, we had stopped somewhere for buying something, somebody said this. Immediately this man tells us, he could be that boy from that orphanage. There is an orphanage run by the Jains. Immediately, sixth sense. So we immediately turned the vehicle, rushed up. That boy was from the orphanage. So the local doctor said, it is very serious, we can't do anything, you have to take to the medical college, which is about 45-50 miles away, and you have to pass through the Ghat section. The lorry driver was very kind. It was not his fault, the boy suddenly crossed. So he left and he took a taxi and took the child to Calicut, where the medical college hospital is. This man immediately tells us, we will go to the office, take some money and rush up. And when we also reached medical college, but before that they have reached. So the doctor was there. So we asked him, is he going to be subjected to go through the surgery now? Immediately he shouted, you give him biryani and then you bring him here. We did not understand what he was telling. And he went. We don't bribe, we don't do anything. So, could it be for money? We don't know. And the medical staff said, surgery is postponed to tomorrow morning. And he was given some painkiller or something. So, this man immediately said, we will go to doctor. We searched, somehow we were able to locate his quarters, and we went there, tapped at the door, he opened. We told him, we are coming from Wayanad, that boy is nobody to us technically, he is nobody. Our anxiety is that he should not be amputated. Because if he is amputated, nobody will be there to take care. That was the only reason why we rushed up. Immediately, he couldn't. He apologized for the comments he made. He said, the driver, out of his love for the child, has given him some fruits or fruit juice just before reaching the hospital. If they have to perform the surgery, it should be empty, That is why he lost the temper. He thought we were bringing the child. As soon as he came to know, he apologized profusely and said, I shouldn't have made such a comment. Anyway, now that I know the picture, rest assured, I will ensure that least injury will be done. Least. Tomorrow I will look after. Number one. Number two, you don't worry about the child. I will take care of the child. Don't pay any money to anybody. After 10 days, you can come and take him back. Tomorrow, we will fix the surgery. Young man. He said, no, we would like to see you tomorrow also. Then he said, okay, we took a room in the hotel, stayed there. Next morning, by 8 o'clock, we were in the medical college hospital. The doctor was there. The boy was taken. He said, yes, I remember. And we waited till the surgery was over. Only this slight portion was cut. He said he will be perfectly all right, he will be able to stand on his own legs. And he specifically said, you need not pay to anybody anything, don't make any arrangement. After 10 days, you find out he is all right, you can take him back. And we returned after 10 or 15 days. We sent somebody, he was all right, and then took him back. And he was convalescing. We left with it. After 10 or 15 years, more than 15 years, one day, when we were going to our estate there is a gate. The gate was closed. Somebody came and opened. As we were about to take the vehicle, he immediately said, "Don't you remember me?" I said, "Your face seems to be familiar, but we are unable to connect. You were the one who saved me." I said, "I was not the one." Jain, he immediately remembered that you belong to that particular orphanage and it was he who took us there. "What are you doing now?" "I am an auto rickshaw driver."
What?
That means he is perfectly all right with his. And he showed me his. I was thinking, when we were trying for getting a definition for compassion. What is compassion? Identification of oneself with the other, totally. No other thing. No consideration. If he is amputated, he will not be able to exist by himself. And nobody is there, no family is there for him to take care. Initially somebody may take care. What about his future? All these things in a flash of second, this man was able to calculate where it comes from. Totally identified. That is compassion. That is the one thing. Several decades ago, in Wayanad, an orphan boy's foot was run over by a truck. On hearing of it, a Jain friend rushed to him to the medical college in Calicut, 70 kilometers away from Wayanad, requested the doctor there not to amputate the boy's foot as he was an orphan and had no one to care for him now and in his later years. The doctor, instead of resorting to amputation, which is a normal practice, understood the gravity of the situation and ensured that the surgery did not cause much damage to the foot. Next. Later on, the boy grew up. He took on to the profession of an auto rickshaw driver and is leading a normal life, all because of the timely cautioning by the Jain friend. Like that, each and every, how am I to qualify myself to be the closest devotee of God? This is not a product of a thought. Just now we said, spontaneity. There was no question, immediately, such a person is dear to me. It is not that we expect somebody to come and ask for their help. Next. There are so many instances, we have taken one. Nirmamo. This had happened in Kanyangal, very near to ashram. There is a lottery ticket vendor. Lottery ticket,
Yeah.
You pay, say, $1, and then there will be a, what do you call it here?
Lottery.
Right. And he may get $1,000 or $1 million. So that is a common thing in India. Every state government also does it. So there is a dealer, vendor there, by name Sudhagaran. So his practice is that he has got all lottery tickets conducted by different states, and he has got fixed customers. So they will telephone to him and say, "This particular government's ticket, you keep it for me." One person by name Ashokan, he telephoned and he asked for a particular ticket. So his practice is just take an envelope, put this ticket, and his name on it and keeps it in his drawer. Later on he will come, the other person will come, pay the money and take the ticket. This Ashokan's ticket, he couldn't come and collect the ticket. After 2 or 3 days, the lucky draw date was there. And this particular ticket got 1 crore.
10 million.
10 million. 10 million. And he is an ordinary person, this dealer, middle income group. He lives purely on this commission. And he has got a handicapped child also, if you remember right. But you know what he did? He telephones, the other person has not even collected the ticket.
Given the money also.
Given the money also. He has telephoned to him, the ticket earmarked for you has got 10 million. Please come and collect the ticket. He was stunned. I have not even paid the money. It is still with him. And he came and he told him, why should you give me? You take it. No, that is for you. Somehow the press people came to know and it came in the newspaper. We also requested him to come to the ashram. And when he came, we asked him, why were you not tempted to take the ticket? Because technically he has not paid you. He said in an innocent way like this, spontaneously came the answer. My father, when I was a child, used to tell me, what is not yours will never become yours. So when you are mentally set apart, it has not become mine. This is the height of not having the possessiveness. Me and mine. And the other person, of course, gave him some money out of what he got. But everybody knows, and that this person stands for values. For us people who are attached to our possessions, is a great reminder and clarifies what is possessiveness and what is vairagya, non-possessive, dispassion. You can possess, but at the same time, if you are honest, sincere, conscientious, straightforward, you will stick to that. So one morning, P. Ashokan of Kanjangad, a regular customer of Sri Sudhakaran, who runs a petty shop selling lottery tickets, called him up and asked him to set aside 10 lottery tickets for him. Later, he had set aside for Ashokan, one of the tickets he had set aside for Ashokan had won the first prize, a whooping 1 crore. 1 crore means 10 million. The temptation to own the winning ticket never came to Sudhakaran because he remembered his father's words in his childhood. If you need to, you can even beg, but you must never snatch what is rightfully another's. The ticket has been mentally set apart for Ashokan, and hence it is not his. He immediately telephoned Ashokan, informed him that the ticket earmarked for him had won the prize. Ashokan could hardly believe his ears when he learnt of what had happened. The non-possessive trait of dormant in Sudhakaran made him joyously pass on the ticket to Ashokan. We are trying to understand the meaning of the sloka through examples. Otherwise it becomes academic. There are many. We have only taken one because we don't have time much. Nirahankar. This is also, it was narrated to us by a good friend of Ashram, Ram Agarwal. He is from Mangalore. He was on a pilgrimage to North India. Reached Vrindavan in peak summer. In Agra, you must have heard about Agra, near Delhi. And during this June, July period, May to June, July, it will be extremely hot. 42, 45 degrees centigrade.
130.
You have to convert it to Fahrenheit here.
Around
120 degree Fahrenheit, just imagine.
120, 130.
So at that time, we have also travelled during that period. During these stations, in good old days, nowadays it is not there. Big earthen pot will be there, filled with water, cool water. pure water. And in every station, either a young man or mothers, when we get down and rush up there, they will give us this water. No charge. But people will not take it. They know that it's like nectar. So they will put some coin in that jar. So this Ram Agarwal, when he was going through, same he saw a young man, energetic man, smart person, going around and giving water to customers or passengers who are coming there. Joyously, blissfully. So he went and offered some money. He said, no money. Pressed him. Then seeing the man's loving and serving attitude, Agarwalji offered some money. The person politely declined to accept in spite of repeated requests. That evening, this person we went there for some shopping. And there was a petty shop, and the side of it there was a hotel. Suddenly he looked at the hotel cashier's seat. He saw this young man was sitting there, who was distributing water joyously. So he asked the shopman, who is he? He is the proprietor. Fairly a good hotel, having a lot of employees. Suddenly it struck to him, a person who is running a hotel and having a lot of... He did not ask them to go and distribute. He himself... So he asked him, is he the person who goes... every day morning he goes and spends about 1 hour in the station. That is his hobby. So this man went. Agarwal, is an elderly person. And this person is a young man. The Agarwal is also a very noble person. He went there and made a Sashtanga Namaskar, whole body stretching. And to this young man and said, you should pardon me for offering the money to you. Who was serving water that morning sitting at the cash counter. He was also informed that this person was the owner. Agarwalji felt extremely humbled by the absence of ego of the hotel owner, coupled with his humility and service, and immediately prostrated to him and sought forgiveness for having offered money in that morning. Then he said, as if, Agarwalji was telling us, as if nothing had happened. He said, this is what I enjoy. When we start thinking, a person who is well placed, leaves everything at the counter, goes to the railways, serving unknown persons with all joy and sincerity. The sense of individuality is absent. So when we were trying to bring out this PowerPoint presentation, these things came up before us, so that, this is how we understand what is Nirahankar. Nirahankar means absence of ego. There, he was like a blissful child, serving all, with all love, Sama, Dukkha, Sukha, Kshami. Equal in Dukkha and Sukha, mean happiness and unhappiness, even-mindedness. Not getting elated when you get something, not getting depressed when you lose something. Same maintenance. This you must have heard. Ardharashe, the legendary Wimbledon player, while suffering from AIDS in 1983, which he contracted due to an infected blood transfusion, received letters from his fans, among which one read, "Why did God select you for such a bad disease?" Ardhar replied, 5 crore children started learning tennis. 50 lakh learned to play tennis. 5 lakhs learned professional tennis. 50,000 became eligible to play at circuit. 5,000 reached the Grand Slam tournament. 50 reached Wimbledon, 4 reached the semi-finals, 2 reached the finals, of which I was one. And when I was holding the cup in my hand, I never asked God, why me? So now that I am in pain, how can I ask God, why me? Easy to say, you should maintain equanimity in happiness and unhappiness. But God parades before us incidents by ordinary people to show us, yes, equanimity you can keep up, never getting depressed. When I was holding the cup in my hand, I never asked God, why me? So now that I am in pain, how can I ask God, why me? Forbearing, Shami. So, Pradhu Bakshi, there are many incidents. We have taken only one incident. Even this person, Subrata Bakshi, he was the CEO of Mindtree, about his... I was the last child of a small-time government employee, government servant, in a family of 5 brothers. My earliest memory of my father is that of a district employment officer in Koraput district, Orissa. Koraput was and remains as back as beyond you can imagine. There was no electricity, no primary school nearby, water did not flow out of a tap. As a result, I did not go to school until the age of 8. I was homeschooled. My father used to get transferred every year. He became a top CEO of a IT company. He was in States. He writes, he was addressing the IAM students, and we got this from him. And we talked to him over phone also. Very, very great person. So, we will now skip. It's a long one. So many are there. Father was a government servant. And he will never misuse that vehicle also. He will never allow the children to be in this unless it is stationary. He is not moving. So, his wife was also a very great person. And government houses seldom come with fences. Mother and I collected twigs, built a small fence. After lunch, my mother would never sleep. She would take her kitchen utensils, and with those she and I would dig the rocky, white ant infested surrounding. We planted flowering bushes. The white ants destroyed them. My mother brought ash from her chula, mixed it in the earth. We planted the seedlings again. This time they bloomed. At that time my father's transfer order came. A few neighbors asked my mother why she was taking so much pain to beautify a government house. Why she was planting seed that would only benefit the next occupant. My mother replied that it did not matter to her that she would not see the flowers in full bloom. She said, I have to create a bloom in a desert, and whenever I am given a new place, I should leave it more beautiful than what I had inherited. That was my first lesson in success. It is not about what you create for yourself. It is what you leave behind that defines success. And then over the many intervening years, I grew up, joined the industry, began to carve my life's journey. I began my life as a clerk in a government office, went on to become a management trainee with the DCM group, eventually found my life's calling with the IT industry. when fourth generation computers came to India in 1981. Life took me places. I worked with outstanding people, challenging assignments, traveled all over the world. In 1992, while I was posted in the US, I learned that my father, living a retired life with my eldest brother, had suffered a third-degree burn injury and was admitted in the Satsang hospital in Delhi. I flew back to attend to him. He remained for a few days in a critical stage, bandaged from neck to toe. The Satsang hospital is a cockroach-infested, dirty, inhuman place. The overworked, under-resourced sisters in the burn ward are both victims and perpetrators of dehumanized life at its worst. One morning, while attending to my father, I realized that the blood bottle was empty, and fearing that air would go into his vein, I asked the attending nurse to change it. She bluntly told me to do it by myself. In that horrible theatre of death, I was in pain, frustration, and anger. Finally, when she relented and came, my father opened his eyes, neck to toe bandaged. My father opened his eyes and murmured to her, "Why have you not gone home yet?" Here was a man on his deathbed, but more concerned about the overworked nurse than his own state. I was stunned at his stoic self. There I learned that there is no limit to how concerned you can be for another being and what is the limit of inclusion you can create. That word inclusion. My father died the next day. He was a man whose success was defined by his principles, his frugality, his universalism, his sense of inclusion. Above all, he taught me success is your ability to rise above your discomfort, whatever may be your current state. So when we came to the Bhagavad Gita, endurance, Sugachami, suddenly we remembered this incident. Even at the deathbed, he was able to endure the pain and still concerned more about that nurse. Before we close this, we would also like to read about his mother. 2 years back, at the age of 82, mother had a paralytic stroke and was lying in a government hospital in Bhubaneswar. I flew down from US, where I was serving my second stint, to see her. I spent 2 weeks with her in the hospital as she remained in a paralytic state. She was neither getting better nor moving on. Eventually I had to return to work. While leaving her behind, I kissed her face. In that paralytic state and in a garbled voice, she said, "Why are you kissing me? Go kiss the world." Her river was nearing the journey. At the confluence of life and death, this woman, who came to India as a refugee, raised by a widowed mother, no more educated than high school, married to an anonymous government servant whose last salary was rupees 300, robbed of her eyesight, completely blind, crowned by adversity, was telling me to go and kiss the world. So after narrating all these things, she summed up, "Success to me is about vision. It is the ability to rise above the immediacy of pain. It is about imagination. It is about sensitivity to small people. It is about building inclusion. It is about connectedness to a larger world existence. It is about personal tenacity. It is about giving back more to life than you take out of it. It is about creating extraordinary success with ordinary lives. Thank you very much. I wish you good luck and Godspeed. Go, kiss the world. I remember when we received this through email, after a couple of days when we went through that, we were really touched. All incidents that had been portrayed by him. A group of more than 100 people came with the Rotary governor, local. And Puja Swamiji was ill, bedridden at that time. So they said that we would like to spend some time. We were highly embarrassed how to do that, how to accommodate these 100 people. Then finally they said, you share some thoughts with us. So immediately, hot, this was there. So we made them to sit in a hall and then read it. Everybody was in tears, the last one especially. And then immediately they wanted the copy of this. Because it contained all about the 7 points, ability to rise above immediacy of pain through an incident, everything through an anecdote from his life, his parents' life. It is about imagination. It is about sensitivity to small people. It is about building inclusion. It is about connectedness to a larger world existence. It is about personal tenacity. It is about giving back more to life than you take out of it. It is about creating extraordinary success with ordinary lives. So when we were to come to this endurance, we remembered this incident. By all these, Papa is reminding us, I have paraded everything. You don't have to mug it up like a theory. It is done by ordinary people. Like you, they have existed. Like you, they have come to this world. But at the same time, to make us know that what contains in the Bhagavad Gita is practically possible in the workaday life. In the midst of various challenges, in the midst of various duties and commitments, you can still hold on. Here is an example. So that is why when we take up anything, we try to bring this, because it is easy for us to understand. The other one is literal knowledge, academic. But this one, we are traveling with that person. And it will have a deep impact. Much, much more than reading just a text. Next. Santushta. Always contented. You might be knowing this. Sir Tim Berners-Lee, who is known as the inventor of World Wide Web, made a proposal for an information management system and implemented the first successful communication between HTTP client and server via the internet. Author of it. He made available this idea freely with no patent and no royalties due. He said that this is for everyone. Normally people would make use of such innovative idea to earn millions, but he was content in merely serving others. HTTP is a common word, Next. I have been given, so I have to give back something, that contentment, self-control. He was in the ashram. He was a model for all of us. Kamalakar Murdeshwar, great votary of the Ram Nam, always remained calm and composed, even in the midst of trying situations. Always his thought, word and deed is only for helping others. He will not talk too much, but the silent way in which he does and the perfect way in which he does. On those days when somebody leaves the ashram, as Mataji's, a part of Mataji's legacy, we give some eatables also. It has to be packed in newspaper. On those days, no bag. And Kamalakarji does 2 sheets of paper, English paper or Malayalam paper. And then the way in which he folds it, something to look at it. It is perfect. No tying with this thing. And you will find no folding anywhere, not in a half-assed way. Perfect means perfect. 100% perfect. He used to keep the bed ready for Puja Swamiji. When he does that, the way in which he will do it for everybody, whenever he is asked to do anything, he will do it for everybody, not merely for Puja Swami. But in Puja Swamiji's, we used to see it every day. The folding will be such that all that Swamiji has to do is to, when he stretches himself, he has to just lift the part that is on. Automatically it will come, the whole thing. It will be never in a slipshod, confused way. That means every moment of his life was an expression of perfection, dedication, love. There were many occasions for him to lose himself, but never. He did silent seva for anybody who was in need of it, and whatever he did, he had the stamp of perfection. When he got to know that he had throat cancer, he accepted it stoically, continued to attend to all his seva activities with the same mental attitude. Even at the time of passing away, he radiated the same love for all, apart from chanting Ram Nam as usual. When it became acute, doctors suggested that we should put a stent. So he called and said in a choking voice, "Why should we do that?" I said, "Otherwise nothing will go inside." So they need some, when you drink, it should go. Now it has become like this, a little opening. You should say yes, Kamalakarji. He said. We took him to the hospital and put this. Every day he is very near to Puja Swamiji's room also. We used to spend some time with him. On the day of his death, at about 9:30, 9:45 or 10 o'clock, I came from Puja Swamiji's room and just visited him. "How are you, Kamalakarji?" As soon as we go, he will not first answer. He shows signs to somebody. Put a chair. Even if he said, doesn't matter, he will not. We sit the chair closer to him. And then when we asked him, it's all right. No grumbling, no complaints, no depression. And within 10 minutes he passed away. Contented, self-controlled means 100%. Nothing could shake him. And whatever he did throughout his period, seva there, perfect. Anybody is in need of any monetary help, he will silently go and give. So when we wrote about this, and suddenly when we were working on this, we remembered him. So every time Papa keeps on reminding us, don't think it is a tall talk, what Lord Krishna has said. It's a verifiable truth. It is not something that has been imposed on us. Umpty number of instances are. You must have the eyes to look, ears to hear, and notice, so that you can translate it slowly into your life. It is a joy to always revel in such incidents, because it is a perennial source of inspiration. We must have read this more than 100 times in various forums. Still it is fresh for us when we repeat it, because it touches and kindles and makes us to remember those moments with them. Silently doing everything perfectly. What is the next?
Next one is Drida Nishchaya. All actions offered to him.
Sure. Of course, with this we can stop. Otherwise, we will be tempted to go again. When he was in the 5th standard, Babar Ali, the son of a small Jew trader in Murshidabad, West Bengal, realized that there were many children around him who were not fortunate enough to go to school. A small boy. At the age of 9, he intensely felt the need to provide education to them and began playing school in his backyard. He had 8 students then. Today, because of his firm commitment, Drida Nishchaya, Lord says, who is my dearest devotee? One is a person who has got this firm commitment. That is why we remembered this. Barber's backyard school has 800 students now. And it is no longer a child's play. Barber, now a second year English honors student, is widely known as the youngest headmaster. What is impossible, he has made it possible. His commitment, his commitment to reach out, expansion. Not thinking about him only. There are so many, we have picked up only one. And then people started recognizing. NGOs came forward and they started giving him, supplying benches, desks, boards. Nothing was there with him. But his commitment with 8 students. The first is when we happen to go through the entire history, we get wonderstruck. How this 9-year-old boy conceived that concept. We had been to a place called Tirupur. We happened to go there for some Satsang program. So we were taken to we visit all such institutions. So one lady, from a middle-aged income group, when she became with very heavy odds, she was able to complete her MA in English. But suddenly she decided not to go in for the common run of life. She was thinking about orphan children. Orphan in the sense, the father and mother are not in a position to make both ends meet, and they don't send their children to schools. And they were asked to go for some job, even in small age. So she was able to pick out another 30, 40 students. And literally, she was the mother. So when we went to that institution, touching incident. This lady will not go and ask anybody anything from anybody. People who come to know, they go there. And then they immediately come forward with some offering. That is how we also went there. But what touched me was, it was about 4:30 in the evening. Children were coming from the school. Suddenly, All children were going towards her, as if to a mother, children going and telling their stories, what they had happened. Everybody wants to say in the same moment. And she hears everything patiently. Touching their head, back, patting their... It was a sight to be seen. A mother become an earthly mother to 40 children in one go. And then after they were all sent to their room, we asked her. Then she told the whole story. Touching. So Papa was teaching us, this is how you expand. This is what is called compassion. This is what is called drowsiness, firm commitment. This is what is called love. This is what is called spirituality in daily life. And none of them feel that they have done something to the society or something laudable. Very humble. They are always remembering with gratitude for all the help they have been getting. First to God and His creations. So it is an enjoyable journey to go through this 12th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And if we start just pausing at each and every word to find out how do I understand this, mysteriously He will make us to remember such of the incidents that stand out in our memory and then put it in the form. There are more than 100 anecdotes like this in this particular PPT, PowerPoint presentation. It was an enjoyable journey for us to see that. So all these shows, as we said in the morning, it is an attempt. World is one family. So first we start with our small family, then try to expand that family to the unknown, to the unknown, to the unknown. And this is spirituality in daily life. So Papa is teaching us, all our spiritual discipline should zero to this. Self-effacement. From me to we to Him. From self-centeredness to selflessness. Selflessness to become one with Him. We remember Mahatma Gandhiji's words. He was a God-realized saint. You might be knowing or not knowing. People think that he was the freedom fighter, father of the nation, all those things. But Papa was able to identify that he was a realized soul. So in one of his teaching he says, all that I do is for realizing God's presence. If someone asks me or tells me that if I go to Himalayas I can have God's realization, I would have gone. But later on I realize that He is not beyond His creation. To love His creation is to love Him. To serve His creation is to serve Him. So Gandhiji's ashram, that is near Nagpur, in Maharashtra, Sevagram. If one has to join there, they have to take 11 vratas, 11 austerities, which contains all that we read in scriptures. Not compromising on any of the moral, ethical, spiritual laws. In the midst of all his activities, he was not retiring to a cave, but he was very much with the people. At the same time, seeing everybody as form of God. We remember, he is not beyond His creation. So we don't have to go beyond His creation. All that we need is to feel His presence and be thankful to Him for having given us the field for expressing our love and gratitude in the form of seva.